Recently I made a video about the top 5 most nerfed Pokémon of all time. And in that video I mentioned that there were many heavily nerfed Pokémon I would like to talk about too, but they can't all fill the list. So I said if you guys want to follow up, just let me know. And from the response I figured that people would like to see a follow up. So this is that video. If you've not seen the first part, I recommend checking that out and it will be linked down in the description. And with that said, just let's take a look at 5 more heavily nerfed Pokémon of all time. Talonflame was incredible in both competitive singles and mainly VGC due to its ability Kill Wings, which gives all flying moves of this Pokémon +1 priority. This includes moves like Roost, Brave Bird and Tailwind. Priority Brave Bird and Tailwind are super valuable, especially in VGC. This gives Talonflame the strongest priority move in the game and the ability to get up Tailwind before the opposing team, while also being faster than prankster users like Thundurus. Talonflame's supportive move pool with Quick Guard and Will-O-Wisp, not to mention its already high speed tier, made it a great support Pokémon and a decent threat on its own. And as a result, Talonflame had a solid 33% usage rate in VGC 2016. However, in Gen 7, Talonflame's Gale Wings received a heavy nerf. Gale Wings now only provides +1 priority to flying moves if Talonflame is at full health. This is a big deal as it basically means you will only have one turn to take advantage of it, as you will probably get hit. Priority Brave Bird is also no longer great as you will deal recall damage to yourself, and in singles with Stealth Rock being dominant, the ability had close to 0 chance of providing anything. Talonflame still saw usage in VGC as it can still provide priority Tailwind and was a good check to Pokemon like Kartana, but it never claimed its former glory. In singles, this Pokemon fell from the OU tier all the way down to the RU-BL tier. Weavile was arguably a top 3 Pokemon in Gen 8 OU, thanks to its amazing step combination and powerful step moves, combined with its solid attack stat and great speed tier. Weavile's powerful triple axle plus knockoff, boosted by Sword Stance, made it very difficult to deal with as it could sweep teams when its checks were chipped. This also made it super versatile as it could act as a wall breaker, sweeper and late game cleaner in one. In Gen 9 however, Weavile got heavily nerfed as it lost both of its strongest step moves, Triple Axle and Knockoff. These moves had a max power of 120 base and 97 base respectively, and now Weavile is left with the 85 base power, Ice Cold Crash and 70 base power Night Slash as substitutes. It also does not help that Game Freak introduced Mega Weavile, aka Chin-Pao, although this has been banned in singles to Ubers. As a result of this significant power loss, Weavile went from a top 3 Pokemon in the OU tier to now the RU tier. Gengar has been stable in most generations of OU and has been quite good in UU after it fell off in the OU tier. Gengar's high special attack stat and speed in combination with its wide move pool always made it a force to be reckoned with, but it has received numerous nerfs throughout the generations. In Generation 1, special attack and special defense were not 2 separate stats but a combined one. This means that Gengar had a 130 base special attack stat and a 130 base special defense stat. Not only did this mean it could dish out a lot of damage, but also tank some special hits too. In Gen 2 however, these stats got split and Gengar got its special defense nerfed from 130 base to 75 base. In Gen 1, the critical hit chance of a Pokemon was based on the user's speed stat. The higher the speed stat, the higher the crit chance. In Gengar's case, this meant a very high crit chance of 21.5%, but in Gen 2, this was removed, nerfing Gengar's effective damage output too. In Gen 4, Gengar was also a big victim of the physical special split. While it did finally gain a solid Ghost Step with Shadow Ball, it also lost several coverage moves like Ice Punch and Fire Punch, as these were no longer special moves and Gengar's attack stat is not great. Explosion was also a common move on Gengar as it could use it to break through special walls and trade with them, allowing openings for teammates that would struggle with these Pokemon. Explosion used to have the target's defense stat when used, basically doubling the power of the move. But in Gen 5, this secondary effect was removed, heavily nerfing the damage of Explosion, and like I said, Gengar's attack stat is already low to begin with, so this was a very big deal for this Pokemon. However, despite all of these nerfs, Gengar still remained a viable option in the OU tier, and it wasn't until Gen 7 where Gengar received another significant nerf, resulting in it dropping to the UU tier for the first time. Gengar's ability Levitate got replaced with a much worse ability Curse Body. Levitate was a big part of Gengar as it changed its weakness to ground into an immunity and furthermore made it immune to hazards like spikes and sticky web. Cursed Body has a 30% chance to disable an attack it gets hit with. This is terrible on a Pokémon that has the bulk of nothing, so it cannot take advantage of this ability. Lastly, in Gen 9, Gengar also lost the move Sludge Wave, leaving it with Sludge Bomb as a replacement. This isn't the biggest nerf as the base power difference is only 5, but still another nerf on the list of the already big nerfs it received. Gengar is still a great option in the U tier despite all of the nerfs it has received, which says a lot about this Pokémon to be honest. Aegislash. Aegislash was banned to the Ubers tier in Gen 6 and Gen 7 and a very good Pokémon in VGC 2. Aegislash has an incredible typing with Ghost Steel and a very cool ability with Stance Change. Aegislash has two forms, its attack and defense form, and it will switch to one of these forms depending on what it is doing. If Aegislash is attacking, it will switch to its attack form, and it will switch to its defense form if it is using its signature move King Shield, which protects it from incoming damage and lowers the target's attack stat by 2 stages if they hit Aegislash with a contact move when King Shield is used. Depending on the form, Aegislash would have different stats. In its defense form, it would have 150 base in both its defensive stats, and its attack form would have 150 base in its attacking stats, making Aegislash super versatile and very difficult to exploit. In Gen 8 however, Aegislash received several nerfs. Its stats got nerfed by 10 points each, reducing its 150 base to 140 base. However, this was a double nerf as it lost 10 points in both its defense and attacking stats, totaling out in a flat 40 points stat nerf, making Aegislash less bulkier and weaker as a result. King's Shield also got nerfed from lowering the target's attacks by 2 stages to now only 1 stage. Aegislash also lost the move Pursuit, which was a great move on this Pokémon as its typing made it a natural abuser of the move as it could switch into powerful psychic types like Deoxys Attack, Mewtwo and Tapu Lele and trap these Pokémon. As a result of these heavy nerfs, Aegislash dropped from the Ubers tier in singles to UUBL and completely fell off in VGC. Darkrai was an incredible Pokémon in competitive singles, especially in Gen 4 and Gen 5 Ubers, where there's a top 5 Pokémon. Darkrai's great special attack stat and very high speed stat in combination with a great move pool made it a force to be reckoned with. A huge part of Darkrai's success was his signature move Dark Void, which is a 80% accurate sleep move. Darkrai's high speed stat allowed it to outspeed the majority of the tier and put them to sleep reliably, giving Darkrai 3 opportunities to set up a nasty plot, not to mention its ability Bad Dreams, dealing significant chip damage to slapped targets every turn. Darkrai was so powerful that even niche counters like Primeape saw usage in Gen 4 Ubers. However, in Gen 7, Dark Void received a big nerf, going down from 80% accuracy to a merely 50%. The reasoning behind this is because of Smeargle and how it dominated the VGC scene in Gen 6 with this move. This is so bad that Darkrai is better off using the 60% accurate Hypnosis, which says it all really. As a result, Darkrai went from a top tier threat to basically unviable. It's still Ubers, but it's not really used at all. Darkrai can still reclaim its former glory if it does manage to sleep a target, but it's a big if that could also end up being a wasted team slot. For the number 1 most nerfed Pokemon of all time, I have Chansey and Blissey. To start off, Chansey was a top 3 Pokemon in Gen 1 OU, present on nearly 100% of teams. Chansey's premier special bulk allowed it to basically handle any special attacker, especially psychic types which were very difficult to deal with. Since special attack and special defense were not 2 separate stats back in Gen 1, it also had a very good base special attack set of 105, allowing it to dish out damage with moves like Thunderbolt and Ice Beam. In Gen 2 however, the special split was introduced and Chansey's special attack went from 105 base to a pathetic 35 base special attack, rendering special attacks on it useless. However, Blissey was introduced in that generation and got an increase in special defense from 105 base to 125 and it's still an alright special attack of 75 base. Blissey and Chansey have maintained staples in the OU and UU tier respectively, and to my knowledge these Pokemon didn't receive significant nerfs until Generation 9, where they lost several key moves. Blissey and Chansey lost Teleport, which was a staple move that they gained in Gen 8. Teleport allowed these Pokémon to switch in and use a minus priority pivot move to provide momentum for their team by responding to your opponent's move. Blissey and Chansey also lost Toxic, which was a staple in any generation these Pokémon were used. This allowed them to cripple anything switching in, aside from Steel and Poison types of course, and beat those Pokémon one-on-one with healing moves. These Pokémon also lost Wish, which was a niche optional more defensive teams to provide these Pokémon with healing using their massive HP stat. And lastly, Blissey and Chansey were severely crippled by the nerf of healing moves in Gen 9. Most healing moves got their PP reduced from 16 to 8, and all of these nerfs make Blissey and Chansey very passive as they cannot provide the same offensive pressure they once could with Toxic and Teleport, and are easier to stall out with their reduced healing capabilities. As a result, Blissey and Chansey dropped all the way down to the NU and PU tier respectively for the first time ever. Blissey does still have a small niche on stall teams in Gen 9 OU, but that's all where it's all ends. All of this makes Blissey and Chansey the most nerfed Pokemon of all time from this list, in my opinion at least. Let me know what nerfed Pokemon stands out to you, or Pokemon that you think I should have mentioned on the list but wasn't here. Also make sure to check out the previous part if you haven't already, and if you want to see more content like this, you can let me know by liking the video and subscribing if you're new. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.